so much more on Fridays than on Thursdays. It really
do.
It punctures the exclamation mark at the end of the week.
Really feels like the backhaul edition.
So
Yeah.
I saw a few movies this week.
Wow,
Yes.
really? Loading up.
Well, it's getting to be horror movie season. I saw Spider-Man Far From Home. Not a horror movie, but an outfit that people would wear on Halloween. Decent. Not terrible. And actually, there's like scenes in there where they're using like holographics, and it reminds me of like the old Nightmare on Elm Street movies where like Freddy would make the dreamscapes. The other one I saw was Crawl. And we don't have Nick Austin here because he hasn't seen it yet, but I wanted to find out the meteorological accuracy of this alligator film that takes place in Florida during a Category 5 hurricane.
Wow. Well, when he's not in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, we'll find out.
Have you seen anything recently?
No, I've just been kind of watching some sports.
Sports.
Braves
Yeah.
and stuff. Yeah.
How are they doing?
They won their division.
They won their division.
Yeah,
Well,
but Freddie
congratulations.
Freeman's got a sore elbow, and Ronald Acuna Jr.
Yeah.
kind of pulled his left groin. Those are key contributors, so
Yeah.
we need them.
I was going to watch Midsommar, but you got to be in the mood for that one. About 45 minutes in, people just start jumping off of cliffs onto rocks, and I was out. After a long day of work, don't really need that.
No.
Speaking of, want to get to headlines?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, man. By the way, introduce yourself.
I am Chad Prevost. Hello.
And I'm Dooner. All right. Now the headlines. But first, Chad, we've got to pay the bills. This episode of What the Truck is brought to you by TruckStop.com, the world's most trusted load board. Want to find the best carriers at the best rates? See market data, build relationships, and grow your business with TruckStop.com. Visit TruckStop.com today for more information. Ooh, here's an interesting one. Local guys, right? Covenant Transport to close its truck service in Mexico. Covenant Transport is ending all service to the interior of Mexico, citing dropping spot market pricing,
Yeah, they've had enough.
increasing detention times, and an inability to gain the freight density to balance out the cost. So, the juice ain't worth the squeeze, as John Bowes would say.
That's right. And they've been there 5 years. They had a lot of traction there.
A lot of traction out of Mexico, but it just didn't work out. You got to pivot at points. So this is what Andy Van Zandt, Senior Vice President of Highway Services at Covenant Transport Services, had to say. This tough, data-driven decision is rooted in our desire to operate a network that brings value to our employees, our professional drivers, and our shareholders. Spot market pricing in and out of Mexico has dropped in the last year, negatively impacting their Mexican lanes. Covenant is the second major U.S. trucking company to end its Mexican service this year. In January, U.S. Express Enterprises also exited the cross-border operations down there in Mexico, south of the border.
Yeah, but not everyone is doing it. But Matt Silver of the Chicago-based digital freight platform Forager said Covenant's decision to end its service in Mexico will have a big impact on truck capacity. Silver said, he said this: Covenant is a major player in Mexico, so it will significantly impact both dry and reefer capacity. We have a large network of carriers at this point for cross-border freight. So when it comes to one carrier leaving, it doesn't completely wipe out all the capacity, but it impacts everybody and has a chain reaction in the industry. And Silver said his company's goal over the next few months with any of their customers is to ship that refrigerated or frozen product. It's going to be to convert them over to a transload model.
That's that reefer goods. Well,
Yes.
Celadon Trucking Services, on the other hand, which also operates cross-border shipments, said it has no plans to end service in Mexico. According to Celadon Chief Executive Paul Svindland, Celadon is very committed to Mexico and the cross-border operations. So he wants to pick up this slack. He wants to pick up the
It's
slack that they're leaving.
More for us.
Yeah, and isn't that how business works? The market gets too crowded. Some people, either can't
dive
find the
in.
profit in it, or they can't make it, then someone else is like, you know what? I will reap the rewards.
And so, and like Silver is like that's their thing is cross-border stuff. So they're like, we're going to keep making it happen. We're going to prove our value.
It's their bread and butter.
So another headline here, XPO inching their way back into the M&A game. Brad Jacobs tells analysts. Brad Jacob, of course, the chairman and CEO of XPO Logistics. He recently announced that they've reopened the door to mergers and acquisitions activity. Jacobs told analysts at Morgan Stanley in a recent meeting that he is now devoting about, and I mean, when he's at 10 to 15%, when he says 10 to 15%, he means it. He keeps track of his time. they're exploring possible acquisitions. So this may not seem like a lot given XPO's acquisition history, but it marks a turnaround from February when XPO tabled M&A activity for the foreseeable future because a mid-December plunge in its stock price had made share buybacks a more cost-effective use of its capital. The company has spent about $1.9 billion of the $2.5 billion it was authorized to buy back shares.
Yeah, well, the company is in the early stages of feeling out interested companies and conducting fact-finding and relationship-building activities at FreightWaves Transparency 19. Brad Jacobs, keynote speaker there.
Yes.
He had a great speech, and he came out and he was like,
real good. Real
open forum. Ask me whatever you want.
And he really took on anything.
I know, he came out jogging in those sneakers. It was exciting. He had a lot of energy, and I think it really got everyone excited because I think we were like expecting something really prepared, right?
Yes.
And it wasn't. So, but at FreightWaves Transparency 19 conference in May, Jacobs said that XPO had been close near to the end of 2018 to consummating a massive acquisition. Oh, yeah, I remember that. He hinted at this massive acquisition that would have effectively doubled the company's size, but they ended up holding back.
Yeah.
Jacobs has never taken M&A completely off the table, and has said that XPO would have pursued a deal had its share price not dropped. So that was the thing that happened with
timing is everything, as they say.
Amazon, right? Or it was rumored they lost that Amazon business, and that caused the share prices to go down substantially.
Yeah, but I think we all knew that it was a good buy at that time.
Yeah,
XPO continues to experience difficult macro conditions in the U.S., though, the U.K. and France as well. And that demand will likely remain weak until the U.S.-China trade dispute is resolved and it becomes clear how or if Britain ever exits the European Union. For now, the company, XPO, is focused on cutting the $6.5 billion a year labor spend through technology investments and sees the potential for hundreds of millions of dollars in cost improvement through route optimization and warehouse automation, a topic we often cover.
Sure do. We just covered automation. If you were tuning in earlier on FreightWaves.com, Automation Nation, off the supply chain. I don't want to give too many spoilers away. I was a contestant on there. I may or may not have been robbed out of a victory.
You played a competitive game.
Yeah, I'll have to come back on and try
tuned.
Again, right?
Yeah, stay tuned.
In the future, maybe.
Automation Nation, it just came out on Off the Supply Chain. What's another headline, dude?
Well, I was going to say, another topic maybe I could come back on is, I don't know if you're having one on China, but I know quite a bit about China.
Oh, have you studied it?
A little bit.
Up?
Okay, so here's another headline. DOT ends century-old restriction on highway construction.
That's another topic we're going to be hitting, some infrastructure.
Yeah, good news in the infrastructure department. A rule adopted in 1916 that discourages U.S. state contractors from deploying innovative products and services in road design and repair has been updated to give states more choice for federally funded highway projects.
Always nice when we update our with our acts of Congress every century.
You know what?
So.
In our next segment too, we're going to kind of talk about these laws and these preemptive laws. So stay tuned for that one. But the revised regulation takes effect on October 28th and will lead to safer roads and reduce the probability of congestion causing accidents. Prior to this change, federal regulations prohibited state contracting agencies from using federal funds to buy patented or proprietary materials, products, or services, except in limited circumstances.
Easy enough, right? Under the revision, federal funds will no longer be restricted when state departments of transportation, DOTs, specify a trade name for approval in highway contracts eligible for such funding. In addition, federal funding will no longer be restricted when a state DOT specifies patented or proprietary materials when putting out bid requests.
Yeah, the American Road and Transportation Builders Association found that 38% of U.S. bridges need to be repaired or replaced. That's getting near half, right? Think about that. Every other bridge you're driving across probably needs to be repaired or replaced. And think about the ones you're driving under, too, because that's the real scary thing is when these things, you don't want to be under it or over it when it collapses. But, they're talking about how innovative projects can help with some of this construction.
Yeah, it could talk about your horror story if something like that happened, right?
Yeah.
Universal Logistics reports a $36 million settlement for an accident involving a quote-unquote marginal driver. Yes, Universal Logistics Holdings reported that it had resolved the Denton litigation, which we have covered here on FreightWaves. It was Denton versus UACL. just recently, they're agreeing to pay $36 million, which is in addition to amounts already paid to settle the lawsuit arising from a 2011 accident involving Universal AmCan, a subsidiary of Universal Logistics. Previously, UACL was ordered to pay $19.2 million after a jury found all defendants negligent and said that UACL was also negligent in its hiring and retaining of David Lee Johnson, the driver involved in the accident. The jury also awarded the defendants $35 million in punitive damages.
Yeah, and for those not familiar with the accident that you're referencing, it happened in 2011. It occurred when a wrong-way driver on an interstate highway in Indiana caused two vehicles to swerve off the road. To avoid it, Johnson, who was driving a truck above the speed limit on a suspended license, crashed into the Jeep in front of him. It was occupied by James Denton, pushing Denton's vehicle into the fuel tank of another tractor, which caused Denton to incur severe injuries.
Yeah, so glad that came to a resolution.
Yeah, good stuff. So let's talk about it. So our next segment, we're going to talk about something that's been trending, and you really couldn't have missed it if you've been watching the news at all this week.
Right.
Now trending in supply chain.
Ooh.
I like that bumper.
Yeah. So.
Now trending.
Yeah.
So, one of the things that are trending, we've been hearing a lot about climate change. Greta Thunberg.
Yeah.
Right? She made...
Thunberg, I believe it is.
Thunberg, she made what some are calling kind of the Gettysburg powerful statement for climate change.
Yeah, she did. And this was unavoidable. It's been memed, it's been mocked, it's been lauded, it's been attacked. She's been doing these climate strike protests, right?
Yeah. One of the things that was interesting that you told me was she actually came over in a boat, and it wasn't due to fear, such as I understand. It's about it requires it's not as hard on the climate as
a round trip from Sweden to New York puts out about 20% of the emissions that your car. This is what the article I was reading said, about the same as 20% of the emissions your car would put out in an entire year.
Yeah. Trump mocked her in a tweet.
Yeah. What did he say?
He said, seems like a very happy young girl looking forward to a bright and wonderful future. So nice to see.
But it was obviously very sarcastic, right? And it had a picture of her looking very angry. But then they took this picture. She took this, and now this is on her bio. So what's really interesting is we're seeing this sort of political movement of attacking anything, that is sort of against how you feel. Yeah. And a lot of young people have fallen victim to this. But what's interesting is that young people are born of the internet, So they made all these memes. You can't out-meme a 16-year-old. You can't out-sarcastic a 16-year-old in the internet age. They're going to take that, they're going to make that their bio, and they're going to mock you back. So, but it's been a really interesting thing, and the topic really goes beyond just Greta. You see it in your stores. You go to buy a cup of coffee, a cup of iced coffee, say.
Yeah.
And in some cities you'll go and you'll notice you go to hit your straw down, and the straw cracks in half because you got a paper straw.
And this really fires people up, the straw thing.
Does it get you fired up, or what is your opinion of the paper versus the plastic straw?
I really I've been surprised by how much it really does anger people about not being able to have their plastic straw.
Yeah.
But my daughter is actually she really cares about it, and so every time we go to a restaurant, she doesn't want us to have the plastic straws.
So no straw.
Out of respect to her conviction, we kind of don't do that. And I haven't minded the paper straws. Yeah. Although people do tell me that they disintegrate in their mouths and these kinds of things. Apparently, though, what I've been hearing, the funny thing is paper isn't necessarily so much more ecological.
Yeah.
It's hard to.
Well, I think the thing is that it can at least degrade. So maybe the production of it takes quite a bit of energy, right? You were looking inside and it was 4 times as much energy or something. But the problem with the plastic is it doesn't go anywhere. It just ends up in the ocean or landfills, and it doesn't vanish or disperse.
People are talking about why are we making these things that take 5 seconds to make, are used for 5 minutes, and then take one time, and then take 500 years to break down.
One thing that we learned too when we were sort of getting a little bit more educated on this topic is that we've heard about the bans. We've all heard about the plastic bans, but I don't know if a lot of people have heard about the preemptive bans. And when we first saw this, it said 17 states have preemptive bans. And we were like, oh, okay, legislation to ban the plastic.
That's what I thought it
and
was.
We're like, wow, interesting that Tennessee's there. Well, we should have known better, because then we looked into it, and it turns out it's a ban on a ban. So the preemptive ban means that you can't make laws to ban the plastic.
I mean, isn't that crazy? Like, it's crazy. Like, I mean, couldn't you just make more legislation and just, like, ban the ban on the ban?
No, like, times a million, right? No backsies, no taxis on it. Like, you are banned the most.
And it's causing conflict between local and state governments because, like, say, a local government might want to ban the plastic straws, but if the state has said, no, you cannot ban, I'm banning you from banning straws.
Yeah, and some of the states have
preemption.
A lot of the states have wanted to do it, or towns have wanted to do it, and it puts them in conflict with the state, especially states that are opposed to it, because they have to pay for their own landfills, right? And they have to pay for their own cleanup, and that gets very costly with plastic bags flying all over the place, and with plastic straws, and you know those like toothpick things you see all over the ground? Those, I don't know why people ditch those on the ground, but they're gross.
They are very gross.
I know.
We need more sustainable options there, too. I don't know the answer to
edible
this.
floss.
Like, you know, is it really realistic that we're going to, like, you know, carry around our stainless steel straw?
Probably not.
You know, like, or like...
Why do we need a straw? Can't you just go like that?
That's a good question. Is it cleaner? Like,
I don't know. But since this has happened, and I'm sure, like, you mentioned your teenagers, they're, like, way more dialed in. And all these climate strikes, teenagers, Thunberg herself, very... a young girl. I believe she's 16, right?
Yes.
And the youth has been attacked. Alan Jones, an Australian broadcaster for Sky News, he delivered a monologue calling the climate strike youth, get this.
Yeah.
And would you consider your daughter this selfish, badly educated, virtue signaling little turd?
Wow. I mean, just...
When did decorum become that we can just, like, regardless of how you feel on an issue and your political leaning, like, where's the decency in not just attacking like children, though?
They've called her mentally ill because she has autism.
Well, she's open about having Asperger's.
Oh, is that what Asperger's?
Yeah, and
well, even the Australian Prime Minister weighed in after, and I mean, I felt like his tone. He was trying to be like hopeful. He was like, "Kids, don't be anxious. We're going to take care of the future here." But it felt a little condescending.
Well,
it just
To wrap the segment, as usual, The Simpsons predicted it. That's the new meme going around. Maggie Simpson on there. She did it on a big campaign and yelled at the town hall in Springfield to tell everyone to clean up Springfield. Then the next day, headline reads, nagging child passes bill to clean up Springfield.
Ah, wow. Yeah. Way to wrap that episode with a Homer
reference.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's have Arlen Stark in here now to talk about the FreightTech 100. This is his baby, right?
Yeah. Bring it on in, Arlen.
Arlen, thanks for joining. Whoa,
guys?
he's got a book with him and everything.
Oh, it's just my notebook.
Chad, it's time we get off the blockchain. Never has this bumper been more appropriate than talking about FreightTech. Nice. Yes. That's getting digital.
We are getting so digital.
Let's make it digital, Chad.
I'm going to get digital, Arlen.
Are you feeling it?
I'm feeling it.
All right. Well, what's one of the exciting things we've got going on this week that we've been spreading the word about?
Yeah. Throughout all of our media.
Yeah, the FreightTech Award.
Yeah,
the second annual FreightWaves FreightTech Award.
And you're the granddaddy of the program.
Well, I'll give Craig Fuller granddaddy godfather status. Maybe we'll think of me as the shepherd. Yeah, we'll go with shepherd.
The good
He's
shepherd.
God, I'm Jesus.
Okay.
And are the nominations flocking in?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, the results thus far are phenomenal. I was just checking the form. We're at like 700 individual nominations representing like 245 unique companies.
So only a seventh of those will make it. Because there's only 100 that can make it, right? So you get 700 votes. So there are companies teetering right on the line. So these nominations could come down to the wire.
All it takes is one nomination to be considered.
Wow.
So,
and anyone, you can nominate yourself. You can nominate your own company.
Yep.
Right at the top of the FreightWaves page.
Does volume, though, I mean, the volume when you do voting like this, it's got to create some awareness. Like if you didn't have a company on if you didn't have them on your radar, you're like,
well, I mean, just to put it in perspective, that's like 140% better than last year, which last year was a really good result for a first year award of its kind. So
It was a strong top 5.
very strong. And I mean, for a first year, I was really pleased with even all the way through the top 100. But this year it's shaping up based on the names of the companies I'm seeing. I mean, it's going to be the who's list all the way through the top 100.
Wow.
It's going to be, I think, a very competitive and difficult choice selecting it down to the top 100, and then for the voters getting it down to the top 25.
Top 25.
So this is stage 1. Right now until October 5th, they can go to FreightWaves.com. They cast their nomination for their favorite FreightTech company.
Yep.
Then what happens from there?
Yeah, so nominations close the 5th of October. Then we're going to compile all those nominations. We actually pulled together a research team, Kevin Hill's group. They actually pull a summary of, this is all the information we can find on every single one of the companies nominated. Want to make sure it's a fair process, everything from number of employees to the year they were founded to if it's public available, have they raised money, how much money have they raised.
Okay.
Even a link to their website and summary of what they do. And then we go through, we have a selection committee here internally at FreightWaves that does a blind democratic vote.
Yeah.
And whittles that list of whatever the number of nominations ends up being down to the top 100 companies. Then from there in mid-October, we'll engage Cat Sapper Miller, the independent accounting firm.
Okay.
And then they'll oversee the voting process with the voter pool of, I think it's up to 80 industry executives, CEOs, academics, investors,
Wow.
and industry media.
It was compared to sort of like the AP coaches poll or something to that effect.
That was the methodologies based upon that.
Yeah.
From a point standpoint and from how the voting works.
And if you make the top 25, our editorial team writes an article for each given company.
Wow.
Correct. Yep. Post FreightWaves Live Chicago.
That's an incredible amount of awareness that someone can build just by voting. And I'm sure this is a great opportunity for some of the dark horses. We know some of the big ones. Let me ask you first. Is there a dark horse who hasn't been in the 100 yet that you think is going to show up? They've just done such great things this year, but maybe they don't have as much awareness as Amazon.
I'm gonna be a little bit of a tease. I'm not gonna name names,
okay.
But I will go as far as saying I looked at the list, and I think there's anywhere from 5 to 10 dark horses for the top 100. Again, who knows how that's going to shake out? But in my opinion, when I speculate on that, I think there's some dark horses, and then the top 25 is going to be really interesting. I'm really interested to see what jockeying occurs, if any, amongst the top 25. What companies fall out of the top 5? What companies fall out of the top 25? Which companies make it that weren't in the top 25 last year? I think it's going to be interesting.
The top 5. That'll be what? Amazon, Project 44, Tesla, JB Hunt.
XPO's made a lot of inroads with technology recently too. They have Drive XPO, which is their freight booking app. The night shift covers that heavily. That could help catapult them at least into the top 10 or top 5. They were 15 last year. Maybe they moved to top 10 at least.
Yep. Gonna be fascinating to see. I
was going to give you a dark horse. My dark horse would be a company that Shopify just bought, invested heavily in. 6 River Systems. They're doing warehouse robots. I think the warehouse robot game is a great place for automation. You're going to see that advancing probably more quickly than most other spaces. So, I think it would be great to see 6 River Systems or maybe even Shopify move up that list a little bit.
Well, I think it's interesting you bring that up, Dooner, because I think people's view on companies that are involved in the space is expanding.
Yeah.
And I think I'm really curious to see to what extent is that reflected in the top 25, the top 100, and even just in general throughout the nominations themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, so any updates this week that come to mind about the FreightWaves live event? It's like 45, 46 days away
Oh,
now.
not even. We're like 30. I think we're at 39 now.
T-minus 39 days.
Yeah.
Oh, well, time's flying. I've heard rumors of a T-shirt Gatling gun. I don't know. Is that true?
That may or may not be in the works.
May or may not.
He's not confirming. He's not confirming or denying.
I may have winked at Chad, though.
It is a badass guaranteed event.
Yes, 100% badass guarantee.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
Some new things. I don't know if you all have talked about this on the air or not, but it's going to be like a rock concert. 2 main stages going on both days.
Wow. The Festival of Freight.
The Lollapalooza of Freight event showcasing the best of the best in terms of content, rapid fire demos in FreightTech.
I've heard things like some of the people that are helping us facilitate the conference, like they help with the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
and
we've partnered with Freeman. They do the production for the Super Bowl.
And they're saying like we don't even get this intensity. This is an intense event.
They've gone as far as telling me this is the most action-packed industry event general session agenda they've ever worked on.
Yeah.
Wow.
And this is the company that does the
sounds
Super
for
Bowl.
real.
That's saying that. So
that sounds for real.
Chad and I go to other conferences. We've done the What the Truck Road Tour this year, and we've been to a bunch. But after transparency, it's kind of like we need the bar to be. No one else has raised the bar from transparency yet, I guess is what I'm saying. We're looking forward to seeing what your team does. I know Events has been working hard, and I know you have to get back to work on that. But Arlen, where do they go to get their tickets?
Actually, so prices are going to go up at the end of the month, $400. So get your tickets now. They're going from $15.95 to $19.95.
Wow.
FreightWaves.com, horizontal nav, top of the screen, select events, then pick FreightWaves Live Chicago and buy your ticket.
I get the feeling that you've said this before. You're very well practiced with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice stuff, man.
Thanks, guys,
for joining us. A little in here,
right.
a little cowbell for the
right.
event.
I'm going to do a repeat of the last.
Ooh, fast.
Oh, I like a little butterfly fluttering on the top and the bottom.
I like
of that.
it. Points for originality.
Yeah.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you so much, Arlen, for taking some time here.
Yeah.
And now let's bring on
Kevin Hill. I see him.
Of contenders.
Yeah, I see him
inching. I think we've got
lurching
a
along right over there. Earnings over. Ready to play.
A contender.
A little earnings over under. By the way, you see the new board?
I do. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, we're so digital, dude.
Yeah, we're not playing a game with the buzzers though. But when we do have the buzzers, it'll be more interactive for us.
It will. Yeah,
it'll
be good.
Yeah, this was a suggestion by our tech guy who's running the camera right now. This guy Morgan, and he was like, you should try that Rode Procaster. And it's really sort of consolidated our workflo here on the show. Recommended if you guys do podcasts.
Well, it was a great one.
All right, so we're here to play earnings over under. Chad is always here to defend his title. And in win or in loss, he's always back in that seat to face another competitor.
Yes. I'm not in loss often, I must say.
All right, are you guys ready to start? We'll start with Kevin Hill. He's the guest.
Okay, sure. I'll be very sporting about it.
Nike. Everybody knows Nike, right? Sneaker company. What are you wearing on your feet? You got New Balance down there?
What do I have?
Those are Under Armour.
He doesn't even know what.
On Cloud.
I'm surprised.
What do you got?
New Balance, baby.
Of
Old
course
school
you do.
from the 1980s.
The dad rock shoe of
He
also in Boston.
He has a pair of kicks for every day of the week.
Do you really?
I do.
Well,
I think so. You have the Allbirds. You have those.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
You have a lot of nice retro.
Well, thanks.
Kicks.
You said nice retro. I'll take that as a compliment.
Not just retro. Because that can mean like beat to.
We know you live in the 80s still. So.
Right. Yeah.
I think we both
I think
do.
somebody's in the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
Tour 86, by the way, the England tour. I'm actually wearing Smith & Wesson boots. I don't know if you guys knew Smith & Wesson made boots, and I didn't either until I got these boots.
That's fancy.
But they're pretty good. Okay, so Nike, anyways, everyone knows them. Kevin, you're going first. Earnings per share, 71 cents.
Over.
Okay.
Over. Over.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Who wants to answer? Because you're both right. You're both right. It is over.
Okay.
It was 86 cents.
It jumped 29% to 86 cents.
Wait. The earnings per share was 86 cents.
Yeah. Why do you? Based on what? Who here wants to answer? Why do you think their earnings have been up?
Sales. No.
Sales really shot up in North America and in China.
I mean, you're both answering the same way.
Well,
you're gonna have to split this point.
I specified where the sales were happening. He just said sales. That's
true. That's true. Well,
thank you.
All right, I'll give it to you. You get the point.
Yeah!
No, it's they attribute to strong growth in digital sales, which grew by 42%. Their kids' business and back-to-school sales have been great. The Air Max sneaker has been a flagship shoe for them. And what else do they have in there? Converse. I love a nice pair of All-Stars, Chucks.
Wait, so Converse are now under Nike?
Yeah, they bought them a long time ago.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah, but they're popularity in Europe, so Chucks are getting back in style overseas.
You should
Did
always
they ever go
have
out
a pair
style?
of
I know. How do they don't?
You
They're
should
classic.
always have a pair of Chucks.
Never go wrong.
I think I'm going to get a gray pair. Like I'm feeling gray with a good pair of high top Chucks.
All right, Chad. Step into the zone, the auto zone.
Okay.
Earnings per share, 2180.
Okay. Over or under 2180?
Yeah.
I'm going to say under.
All right.
Okay.
I'll take the over.
Good. You're a smart man.
Ah!
Smart man. Yeah.
Wait, who's the smart man?
This one right here, AutoZone. They're
Okay.
fueled by domestic store sales, which are up 3%, and revenue is up 12%. What is interesting, though, in the earnings notes I was reading is they didn't attribute anything to digital sales. Is e-com a big player in auto parts sales?
I don't think so. I see the commercial, rockautoparts.com,
Yeah.
with the band, the animated. But that's really the only e-commerce type
You do some
of commercials.
Serious
Commercials.
research.
Yeah, that's
I know,
that's
right?
obscure
Yeah.
commercial.
As the senior research director.
So
A lot of SKUs in that game. Like and
a lot of SKUs.
A lot
yeah.
of SKUs.
Yeah. It's a good recession stock.
Yeah.
Do you
Wow.
what, do
I
it
think
yourself?
he
DIY.
definitely wins that point. All right.
Yeah. Here's a company that likes to sponsor paywall-based company conferences. It is BlackBerry Limited, the innovative
Okay.
BlackBerry Limited. Did they lose 1 cent per share?
Did they lose one?
Yeah, earnings per share 1 cent loss, so negative 1 cent.
Well, knowing BlackBerry, they probably lost well more than 1 cent per share.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm
so
thinking.
that was under.
Yeah.
Under,
yeah.
yes, yeah.
I think they lost more than
Okay.
1 cent.
Then to split the tie, guess how much did they lose?
I would say 89 cents per share.
Okay,
They fell from 244 million. They were estimated to be at 266. They fell to 244.
that wasn't the question.
I don't know.
What is that per share?
Well, if they lost 1 cent, just say they lost X cents. That's all you got to say.
They lost. They lost.
He said 89. You either say something higher or lower than what he just said.
I know, right?
That's true. 90.
Okay, you should have gone lower. It was 89. It was 4 cents. It was just 4 cents. They only lost 4 cents. They said,
Why did I go that way?
I don't know. They lost
I set
40.
you up to just do a dollar
thoroughly-
bid like
okay,
Price
that's
is Right.
it. I'm on the comeback trail.
Yeah, they lost $44 million on income of $43 million in the year. Adjusted for share.
Talk about a
earnings were
company that hasn't done anything right in a decade.
They're including who they
I
sponsor.
didn't
But
even know
yeah,
they were still-
exactly.
I didn't know
Yeah.
that they were still
their
around.
adjusted earnings per share, they did break even, so they have that going for them.
Like there's still some.
so they got in
nerdists
trouble
that-
too.
They got in trouble.
Yeah, because I think it was BlackBerry that came out with non-GAAP approved headline numbers,
Okay.
right? So they got in trouble because they just started making up their own statistics.
That sounds like something that
I
the
know,
SEC
right?
might not be
Yeah.
made too much.
I
party
tell you
to.
what, though, BlackBerry is a great song by the Black Crows.
Okay.
Yeah, just
Well,
a little.
got that
trivia.
going for it.
Yeah.
Conagra Brands. Conagra Brands. Snap
Okay.
into it. Snap into it. Slim Jim. They are also a Chicago-based huge food products company. They have Slim Jim, Duncan Hines, Ready Whip. Get your popcorn ready. Orville Redenbacher. Right? So a lot of brands under that umbrella.
Yeah.
Earnings per share, 39 cents.
I'm going to take the under.
All right.
Unfortunately, I thought the hint Slim Jim meant WWE wrestling.
Oh,
With
like
Randy,
the Macho Man.
Man.
Yeah.
So I have no idea. What did
Oh,
you
so
take
you're
the
looking-
under?
Yeah.
I'll take the over.
All right. Smart move. Smart move. Let's see here. What are they-
Wow.
It was 39 cents. So, no, sorry, it's 43 cents. So they're over 43 cents. They actually sold a lot. $2.391 billion versus the estimated $2.48 billion.
Wow.
And here's a quote from them. It says, well, our food service and international businesses experience unplanned softness on the top line this quarter. They outperformed our operating profit and margin expectations. We believe the first quarter net sales issues in these segments were discrete and are now largely behind us. That's from their CEO, Sean Connolly. The company also attributed this to the planned pace of synergy capture. What does it mean? What is the planned pace of synergy capture?
I don't know. It's
Synergy is whatever you want to make up.
right.
It's-
I'm feeling the synergy, man. It's
Well-
like,
Yes,
it's like a little bit more than energy. It's like the combination. It's
Yeah.
like rather than additive, it's like synergistic.
But it has to be at the right pace.
It does have to be in the right
Yeah,
case.
not too fast and not too slow. But for Conagra, their stock has increased 40% in year to date. So they're doing well.
Good year.
Wow. Well, okay.
Rite Aid. I don't see these out here, but I lived
Rite Aid.
up in the Northeast. Rite Aid. They're always sort of like, as like the CVSs and the Walgreens of the world were modernizing, the Rite Aids kind of, they didn't do much to their footprints, and they kind of just always looked a bit the
Yeah.
same.
Speaking of stick stain in the 80s.
You walk into a Rite Aid,
Yeah.
and each Rite Aid that you walked in, Oh, no, it's Dwayne Reed that I'm thinking of.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah.
But everyone you walk into, the layout was completely different.
Oh, no, Rite Aid has like the
Rite
same
Aid does,
layout,
yeah.
but maybe
I was
almost to
thinking
a
Dwayne
fault.
Reed.
They haven't
Yeah.
really refreshed too much of it, at least in the Massachusetts area where I'd go near in the Boston area, Metro Boston. Anyways,
I love the smell of them when you walk in.
a Rite Aid?
Yeah.
How many Rite Aids have you been in?
A lot for many years.
What does a Rite Aid smell like?
I
I know.
associate them with like wacky packages and going and getting like my collection and gum.
Was that like your childhood drugstore
Yeah.
of choice?
Well, we had a local one called Paradise Pharmacy, but
Yeah.
I went. I had some Rite Aids in my day.
Were you a shoplifter when you were a kid?
No.
Okay. What about you, Kevin? Of course.
No, it wasn't.
Oh.
No.
Oh, all right.
Not
I mean,
at all.
I might have taken a Jolly Rancher when I was like 7.
Uh-huh.
Like they were a dime.
All right.
You know.
Just glad you're letting that out now.
Yeah,
That must have been a heavy cross to bear. All right.
Hopefully, the statute of limitations is done with.
Yes.
One of these days we'll get to this one. Okay. Largest drugstore on the East Coast. Was surprised to learn that. Earnings per share, 8 cents.
Over.
All right.
I'll take under.
You would be wrong.
Close.
It doesn't matter. I think you still won, but yeah, they were over. It was 12 cents. Great news for Rite Aid, which lost 20 cents a share in the last year, and stock was up 11% on Thursday based on that news. So a nice turnaround for Rite
Man.
Aid.
Very good.
I tell you what, I brought in a pretty tough competitor.
You did.
Yeah.
Kevin Hill, what's going on in the world of the PPI?
The PPI is at
wow.
35 this week. We published that yesterday. It's pretty calm week relative. We dropped it down 5 short term.
Down a little.
Contract pricing went negative according to the other PPI, LDTL,
Okay.
which is long distance truckload. It published its first year-over-year negative pricing, but momentum is really growing for a good 2020 for carriers. And we have Seth Holm just wrote an article today. You can find it on FreightWaves.com talking about new orders for Class 8 trucks, and kind of we're running at under the replacement level,
Okay.
which means capacity is probably coming out, and it should be a boost for trucking company profits going into 2020 . So go to FreightWaves.com and catch that article.
Thanks for joining us today, Kevin.
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Kevin, King of the Hill, really bringing it today, making it. Man, I thought this would be easy. No, I thought it'd be a cakewalk.
Well, he's a market expert.
Yeah,
He's
what
in
am
the
I
research
thinking?
group,
That's
the
what I get for
FreightWaves research group.
That's what I get for underestimating.
What is that? The FRG,
What is-
FreightWaves research group.
Oh,
The
FR
frag.
He's the leader
Frigate.
of the FRG. It sounds
All right, man.
intimidating.
Now is when we hear back from you, the dear readers of our fair site, FreightWaves.com, and a little thing we like to call
Comment Section Rodeo.
That was a gun? Oh, that was a whip.
I hit you with the whip first, and then,
Oh.
well, you were like, I went boom, boom.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was quick.
Although, maybe I shouldn't do that. And I shouldn't do that around my kids, because can't you get, suspended now for doing stuff like that? They take it very seriously.
Yes.
Yeah, you can't
There's a
just,
lot of things.
yeah.
There's a lot of things that have been appropriated.
Oh, yeah, we're reading, I don't think so. We can't give them the okay symbol. You can't just take okay.
You can't do that.
You can't.
And if they do this when they score a touchdown,
Yeah.
you can't do that. You can't do that either.
You can't shoot an arrow?
I don't think so.
Why?
I don't know.
What?
It's like it's violence or something.
Oh, wow. How many archery related deaths have there been though? Who's been going out and killing people with arrows?
Oh.
All right. Well, we won't worry about that. That's the world's problems.
Right.
From the article, diesel and Detroit disruptions hit trucking hard and fast. These are our problems, right? Chris has to say this about it. America is self-sufficient on oil. Diesel is a byproduct of petroleum. So all of this is hype. Okay. As for GM and unions, it's BS that they are some of the highest paid workers in America, yet they want more. What their beloved leader said was, how much money does one need? We Americans bailed out GM with our tax money. Then they gave back millions of dollars to Muslim Obama campaign, yet they want more. And he keeps writing won't instead of want.
Yeah.
This was really confusing. The syntax was just all over the place.
Well, he seems fired up. This
He does.
is from the same article. Truck Guy Because I love it when people say the bailout shouldn't have happened. With financial markets frozen, the only entity able to pick up the pieces of a bankrupt GM would have been a foreign government, China. Even a group of billionaires would have been unable to raise enough liquidity to purchase assets at the time. And then he writes, P.S. Obama wasn't a Muslim.
Okay. I think he was replying to that guy. Maybe we could have role-played that. I could have been the above guy, and maybe we would have served you guys a little bit better there. Here, Blaine comes in, and he goes, unions are a canker on society. They are always disrupting the free flow of the market. They are always corrupt. They are always giving money to elect communists, a.k.a. Democrats, and they are always wanting a false, not based on the market, overinflated wage for their crybaby workers. Unions should be destroyed.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Canker. It sounds painful.
I like that he edited, he like self-censored his own swear there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever had a canker sore?
Yeah, they're not good. They're not good.
There's a way to get rid of them now.
Why is it your tongue, like, even though it hurts, like, constantly wants to go at it? Like, why can't you, like, shut that reptilian part of your brain off?
No, but you can take lysine. Lysine will, like, in some doses will kill that stuff. Just FYI, you just learned it right here.
Oh, okay.
Art of the same thing says, so if GM decided to close a plant or two, what can the union do? Nothing. And the laid-off workers would not get a refund of their dues. Unions, useless. Let supply and demand do its work. If the work is in demand, wages rise. Very simple economics.
I mean, one of the first things I did here was go out to Youngstown, right? And I saw that empty GM factory where they were building the Chevy Cruze. And it was really, it was almost like the fall of like a Roman Empire or something looking at it. Because it was massive. The footprint of this place, like, you'd have to go there to really understand how big it is. But it's gigantic. And they have all these, like, relics of a better time. Like, the Cruze is coming to America and all this stuff. Yeah. And, like, the Cruze is reshaping the future. But then, like, the future is a dead plant.
I know. That's crazy.
It was. There's a lot of irony in it.
Did that plant, has it been purchased by another group yet? I thought the Workhorse group was.
Yeah, but then someone said, that, like, you jumped the gun in announcing that. The deal hadn't been finalized. And then
it's not so.
Wasn't it even Trump that was like, that he somehow mentioned that GM factory and was like, oh, it's great, that Workhorse. And then, like, everyone was like, wait, we haven't signed any documents.
Oh, so it's okay. We'll have to look into that.
Yeah, we will. And we'll see if that's progressed along. This is from the article. Speaking of Trump, his action blocking California Emissions Authority will not impact trucking for now. And this is Laura Rahi. And she says, my husband and family, small family farm, were hoping President Trump would fix this mess that the EPA in California are making. Truckers and farmers, especially small businesses, will be hurt by these new laws that are retroactive. Whatever happened to grandfather clauses? Do you realize that a new truck costs $250,000? And if it's older than a 2010, it can't even be used in California after 2023.
Wow.
Truckers barely make ends meet. Then there are the free passes that trucks from Mexico get. This is what comes out of a bull's butt.
Well, I
Interesting.
think that, we should think about the grandfather clauses. Perhaps, I think that they're trying to address, in these regions, the pollution. There's a lot of... But, yeah, I get, like, that means, like, Dean's 2003 Grumpy Peterbilt, right? He wouldn't be able to use it, to drive it. And it's in great condition. So,
and I noticed, like, on when people want to comment, when they get charged up by a story, it seems like we have a pretty, like, decent mix of people who feel strongly about issues one way or another. And do you think maybe it's just that, like, moderates don't, like, post as often because they don't get as fired up by these stories? Because we usually don't have, like, the most measured perspectives. I mean, I'm not saying some of these were that crazy, but we have had some that go over the line a little bit, right?
Right, yeah. I would say so.
There was a decided lack of caps lock this week.
That's a good sign, maybe.
Yeah, what else is coming up? So thanks for writing in. Thanks for writing on the site and reading and all of your comments online. So
yes, thank you.
There was Off the Supply Chain came out today. Automation Nation, myself, Zach Strickland, and JP were on that one, I believe, right?
Yes, it was a spirited debate by you guys, and I love that Produce show. It's fun to work with our whole team putting that show together. So thanks to everyone who's a part of it. Shout out.
Yeah.
And
where can they find that one?
And it's at the top of the FreightWaves page right now. OTSC, Off the Supply Chain. share the love.
Go to YouTube. Go to YouTube.
It's on our YouTube channel.
Yeah, you want to go to FreightWaves YouTube channel. You want to subscribe. You want to smash that bell, but don't stop there because you know what you want to do next? You want to share that so your friends can see it. And, the more people who watch it, the more content we can make. We want to help the appetite of the audience, and we can keep bringing in more and more people and making more and more content.
Wow.
If you guys are hungry for it, right?
Well said. Speaking of content, what are you working on?
FreightWaves Insiders came out this week with TTN Fleet Solutions. I had a great conversation with them back at GATS on the press stage over there.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You're getting rail.
No.
Oh, that's not
TTN Fleet Solutions was not about rail. That was last week.
Oh,
which was also a great conversation. But TTN Fleet Solutions, it was the anatomy of a breakdown.
That's right. Haven't we had them in here before?
Yeah, they were here, and they were on the show in GATS. They were actually the ones who gave me a cowboy hat right during the middle of the GATS broadcast.
Those guys.
They're great guys, and they're very interested in doing more with us, so we'll probably hear more, but it's a really interesting interview, and it's something that I haven't always covered, which is towing and predictive analytics and all of that kind of stuff. So that's freightwaves.com/podcast. Or just like this show, go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and everywhere podcasts are heard around the world.
That's right.
Subscribe, listen, and like I said, share the show. You can find him
at Chad Prevost.
You can find me at Timothy Dooner. That's Dooner. Anything else? I think we kind of covered most of our stuff here. Come back Monday, I guess, right?
Yeah, come back Monday. What you doing this weekend?
I am going to, what's my kid's birthday?
Oh,
I got
right.
FreightWaves Radio, Road Dog Trucking, Sirius XM, Channel 146. Great show lined up for you with John Kingston.
Okay.
And I got my kid's birthday. We're trying to figure out what he wants to do, that 5-year-old.
We've got a triathlon here in Chattanooga. Daniel Pickett, our senior data scientist, is going to be swimming and running a marathon.
You know what he listens to? What? The Truck! Boom, boom. Bang your little cowbell into the weekend. Bang your cowbell for, I don't know, this heat waves to go away in Chattanooga. It's been like 96 degrees, record-setting heat every day. Cooler days ahead. Great weekend, everybody.